Well, good evening, fellow Bears, and anyone that's watching the latest edition of Hands Across the Water, based in Northern Ireland. Tonight, we've got two very special guests. We have the very famous Robyn Keen, who is well known to many out there, and we've got Scott. Scott, no, Scott does another Rangers podcast, and he's been on here before. So great to see you both on, and hopefully we'll have a great show, guys. So first of all, I'll introduce Robyn. Robyn, for those that don't know you, which from many people I'm talking to doesn't seem to be too many, introduce yourself, Robyn, and tell our listeners, especially ones from Northern Ireland, who you are and what's going on with you right now.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. So I'm Robyn Keen. I'm from a small island in Scotland called the Isle of Arran, and I live in Glasgow now, and I'm full-time in music. It really kicked off. I've actually been doing music most of my life, to be honest with you, but ever since sharing my first Rangers song online, it just blew up. I did share a song about 5 years ago on YouTube that blew up as well. But then there was one comment that really annoyed me, and I just thought, I'm not doing this, and that was it. But now, kind of grown up a bit, and you've just got to ignore the comments and just believe in what you do and just do it for the people that are appreciating it. So it's amazing how your whole kind of attitude can change just when you start doing a wee bit of inner work and just not caring what others think. So yeah, it's flying now and it's good. It's just taken off, and I don't have the time to do everything now. I've got to try and structure my days and think, right, I need to put that first, and what's the most important thing to get done this week. So that's the kind of stage I'm at the moment.
That's fantastic, Robyn. It's when you start something like what you've done, and even what we do, you don't realise outside of what you're doing how many people start to engage with you and how many people start to recognise you, etc. How do you cope with that? How are you feeling that at the minute?
Yeah, it's nice. Like, to be honest, everyone that I speak to is just really appreciates what I'm doing, and you'll get a couple of people come up to you and I was walking along Paisley Road West to the old farm the other day, and they'll just kind of point. They're like, "Oh, there's that wee Rangers singer," and they'll just say hi, or that's my name. It just seemed to be the wee Rangers singer, which is quite good. I like that name. So yeah, and most people come up and chat, but the thing I find quite funny is when people are talking to you, I think they think I know who they are, sorry. And I'll have to say, sorry, what's your username? Because if I'm speaking to people regularly, I usually recognise the name, because the profile usually, it's not a picture of them. So they're obviously looking at me on their phone quite a lot with the songs. And then I don't like being rude, but sometimes I'm like, sorry, I've got no idea who you are. And they'll explain, oh, you messaged me like 2 weeks ago and asked for a song. I said, what's your name? And I went, right, okay, I remember that, and I remember the song. So that's what's quite funny about it, because they all know me now, but I don't know who they are. So it's funny.
That's great. Robyn, I just wanted to bring something up because I knew you were over in my native country, Northern Ireland, last month, I believe.
Yep, July the 10th and the 11th. Yep, just the run up to the 12th. First gig was in Londonderry, which was fantastic. That was the Newgate Arts Centre. Have you heard of that wee theatre before?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they do a lot of great shows and really, really great arts centres. So they invited me over. This was all from sharing my cover Londonderry on the foil back in March. I shared that one. And I woke up the next morning to, must have been about 15 messages of people inviting me over gigs all over Northern Ireland. And actually, it's funny because even the songs before that, like Ibrox, got well over 1 million views between the socials, maybe more than that. And I only got one gig offer after that song. So I didn't expect it. Whereas with Londonderry and the foil, it went absolutely mental. And it was all over in Northern Ireland. So I kind of had to, it was trying to work out what would be the best one to do and what would make sense for me. And the minute I saw the Arts Centre one come through, I thought, yeah, I want to do that, because I knew there would be a good PA system. I know with an arts centre, most people that go to these places appreciate music and they're there for the music. And it was exactly what I expected. The show sold out as well. He said it could have sold out twice. There's people queuing up in the door in the night that couldn't get in, unfortunately. So I just didn't think to do 2 nights. I didn't even know I would sell out, but it was amazing, the support. The people were fantastic over there as well. I've met some brilliant characters, as you can imagine. And then I was down in Coquille in the south of Northern Ireland on the coast. That was amazing as well. So I was headlining a festival down there. But that, I think she got in touch before Londonderry and the Foil, actually. Roberta, who runs the festival, she got in touch before, and it was kind of back and forward a lot of things as well, just making sure that everything was set in place and we had the right, like I could do it, and I could get my pianist Ross Taylor, who plays piano for me. I needed to make sure he was available, and then it just all kind of fell into place. So it worked really, really well, having the 2 gigs in a row. It made it worthwhile me coming over. So I hope to do that again soon, actually.
And that would be great to have you over in this country again.
Yeah.
You see, when Northern Ireland people attach themselves, tell you there's no getting away from them.
No, there's not. And even when I go to Ibrox, it's all the Northern Ireland guys that come up to me. You know, so even in the Copeland stand, there's loads of you in that stand, isn't there? You just hear the accent everywhere, and they're actually my biggest fans, which is cool. It's funny.
And that's brilliant. Scott, I'm going to bring you in here with Robyn, because give your thoughts with Robyn there yourself and what Robyn does.
It's really good, to be honest with you. I've only heard a few things on, obviously it's all over social media, so everybody's kind of resharing it or posting it and YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that. And obviously I've heard a few different podcasts that Robyn's been on, so like she says, she's just suddenly blew up, and it's really good for her, and I hope it continues, because she offers something that a lot of fans like entertainment and singing songs that we all sing, but other songs as well. It's not just all Rangers songs, because she has got an amazing voice, and it's good to see this, because you know yourself, once you become doing stuff about Rangers, a lot of fans do get attached, and just like a podcast, Baz, it's like you get your own community, and then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and we all do it at the end of the day for love of Rangers, and Robyn does it for love of music, but also she's a Rangers fan, so she combines both. So it's good to see.
That's exactly it, yeah.
And that's a great thing to have, Robyn. And Scott alludes to the fact, you know, yes, you're well known in the Rangers circle for your Rangers songs, but you do some cracking songs away from that yourself too. I've heard some of them, and they're really top quality.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that. Write my own music as well, and I think that was what initially when I started doing the online thing, the TikTok, I think every musician has has that thing where they want to share their own songs, and I've never had a problem doing cover songs, because I actually love doing covers and making them my own, and I like to do quite unusual covers, like I do Born Slippy by Underworld and Highland Cathedral and these kind of random songs, but I'll always pick a song I'm going to cover it and try and make it my own and try and make it different from the original. But I did go through a phase of, no, I only want to share my own music. And then I just tapped into the Rangers thing by accident, actually. And then from that, I just kept getting so many requests of other Rangers songs. And it gave me a structure in what I was doing, because from one Rangers song, you then in the comments, as you've probably seen on TikTok, you then get about 5 requests of different other songs that keep coming in, and then I'll think, I'll do that one. You share that one, then you get more comments, and you do that one, and that's how it's worked for me. It's my followers and my fans that basically decide on what I do. It's not me anymore. I just let them choose it, and then you're engaging with your audience as well. That's the beauty of TikTok. It really allows people to kind of be part of what you're sharing, which is cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You know, and there's a one there. The Rangers fan base are loyal to their own, and that there's never a truer word, Scott. So there's not, you know, especially like the Robyn, and I know there's other singers out there that do it as well, but they do attach themselves, and they'll follow you anywhere, won't they? Like
they do. They're brilliant supporters. I think back when I first shared that very first song, I was worried about the whole. I had one comment, and they were like, the guy said, "What a shame to see a aspiring young Scottish musician associating themselves with the old firm." And it put me off, because I thought, oh God, everyone's going to think that now. Like, you think you're going to lose half your followers and you think you're going to annoy half the country and all that kind of thing. But actually, you just build the people that do like it. And I do still have some Celtic fans that follow my page, probably through gritted teeth, who have been there from the start. He's still there. There's a few of them that are still there. They still watch it. But like, people need to appreciate if something works, go in on it. I've been doing this for years now, and it's like, you may as well kind of niche down on something, and that's what's happened with the Rangers stuff. And I happen to be a Rangers fan. I'm obsessed with them, so it kind of worked. And like you said, it's kind of combining two passions together. So it's easy for me because I love it. And the songs, they're only ever 3 chords: D, G, and C. So I'm not great on the guitar, but I can play those 3 chords. So whenever I get a request, I'm like, yeah, I can do it, no bother, that's fine. It's not like they're requesting Chopin or something. So
Join the club. I'm the same. I'm not great in the guitar either, and I've got 2 up the stairs. But you were saying, Baz, about the Rangers fan. It's like us, but it's like your other guest you done the other week, Stuart Hayes. He's the same. Yeah. He's a big Rangers fan, but he's doing obviously stuff in theatres and stuff, and he done the Rangers stuff, and it just exploded because he's a Rangers fan. He's done Rangers things, and he said himself he was getting inundated with doing different things and making more shows up. And so it just shows you, if you do get something that works for you, and even if it's attaching yourself to a football club, you go ahead and do it, because yourself, a lot of people are only famous for a very short time. I'm not saying you're going to be Robyn, but you do it for as long as you can get that, and then you maybe try and expand the other ways, because it's the way you have to go. And if it's open, it's expanding your name out there. And then Robyn can do other stuff, your music, like Stuart does other stuff, his comedy and stuff. But it gets your name out there to a big audience, and then you expand it. So you do what you have to do. Yeah.
That's exactly it. Because I'm part of a theatre production, the Billy and Tim Show. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
So I used to do a lot of theatre when I was younger, and then I didn't like it for ages. I just was, I really can't act at all. I don't like that side of it. I always loved the singing on the stage. So then the Billy and Tim Show I've been invited to perform in that and sing Rangers songs. And I get a solo part in the show as well next month in the Glasgow Pavilion Theatre. So again, from just doing this, I'm now singing in one of the most iconic stages in Glasgow. So like you say, it opens up doors in other ways, and that's fantastic to be part of that. I've never been to drama school in my life. I mean, I don't really want to do any of the acting side of it, but I'll go on stage and sing, no problem. So it's good.
It's like you say, I mean, it's like everybody that does something, there's always going to be critics anyway. Doesn't matter what you do in life, there's always going to be critics. But you don't look at that side of it, you look at the other side of it. And
positives.
If you're confident in what you're doing and you're enjoying what you're doing, then block that stuff out, because you're always going to have more people supporting you and more people criticising them. And a lot of people that do criticise you are jealous.
Yeah.
They might not like it, but they are jealous as well. So you just block that out, and you just go with what you're good at and what you enjoy.
Exactly.
It's like, you see the pod. We started this podcast, Robyn, and it's the only Rangers podcast in Northern Ireland, and there hasn't been one before. No, it's the only one.
Oh my God! And
it's never been done before. There's been Northern Ireland people on different podcasts, but there's never been a Northern Ireland-based show.
Oh wow!
For us in this country, we took the gamble of, because this country can be quite, it's very split, especially
absolutely.
So, we when we first thought about it, we thought it's the same as what I'm saying to you with the music. You have to take a gamble and trust your gut and instinct to actually go for it. And that's what we have done, and thankfully that has started off really well. And we've now got people like yourself on, like Scott, the 4 lads, Heart and Hand. Gary Clark, and that's what we trying to do. So it's very, I totally get where you're coming from and taking chances.
Yeah, you've got to take chances. And I heard this quote. I remember it was weird, and it stuck with me forever. Before I shared Ibrox on TikTok, because that was the big one that I thought, right, are you prepared for the hate that you're going to get, because you're going to get absolutely slated. And I just kind of prepared before I shared it, and I was like, right, it's going to go. I thought it would kind of blow up, because of the amount of Celtic and Rangers fans that comment, because the more people comment, the bigger the views you get, whether it's negative or positive. But then just before I shared it, I seen this quote, and it said, freedom comes when you have the courage to be disliked. And I was like, that's it. That's all it is. Like, once you can actually accept loads of folk aren't going to like you, and just that's where the freedom comes. Just have the courage in it, and it's fine. And that's what I say every time before I share something. I say that to myself, and then carry on. Because it's all about worrying about what people are going to say. I don't care anymore. I genuinely don't care. There's nothing that affects me online, because it's just some weirdo behind a keyboard usually at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Oh God! Right. Oh, Scott. Right. I'm trying to think of something there after what you said. No, but I totally get where you're coming from, Robyn. It's about being true to yourself and valuing yourself. The fact is, when we come on here and Scott's the same, it's about Rangers Football Club. It's got nothing to do with anything political. It's got nothing to do with anything else. Only the football team, and that's it.
That's it. Your love for the club, and that is it.
But you know yourself, Baz and Robyn, negativity you mentioned, that does get you more hits. It does get you more views. It does get you.
We don't realise that.
You don't realise, but it does. If Rangers lose, we get more viewers than we do if Rangers win.
I've heard that.
That's the nature of podcast.
Yep. I've heard that. That was what Martin from Rangers Rabble said that as well.
Yeah, I was on the Rabble with Martin years ago, and that's a really good podcast as well. So but that's what happens if Rangers lose, because people jump on negativity, they jump on criticism. Whereas if something's going well, they're like, I don't really want to talk about that, but let's talk about. It's like that week with Russell Martin, because everybody wanted him sacked. It was like everybody just piled in, even if you want him sacked or not, they all piled in. But when they win a game or whatever, it's like it's 3 points, but I'm happy with that. Wait till next week until something bad happens. That's the way football works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in newspapers as well. Because
it's like, you see, when there's a negative result, these platforms give these guys and gals the opportunity to vent.
Yes,
you know what
true.
I mean?
Even I've started going on them now. I've started going on, like, watching the live podcasts after a bad result with Rangers. I'm like, right, what I'm thinking. Are they all thinking the same thing? And they do. Like, everyone's saying the same thing. You just want to be reassured. Quite funny.
Well, that'll lead me on to something that we've now went on to that topic of Rangers, and I know there's a lot of boys on the chat here wanting to vent a bit of fury still with Russell Martin. That doesn't look like it's going away. That's staying here at the meantime, regardless of the transfer window we've had. I think we're at that period of time now where most of the fans, I would say, with confidence, are not buying what's happening at the minute at Rangers in terms of the head coach. Mm-hmm. So what's your thoughts on that, Robyn? Have I'm not putting you on the spot in terms of wanting to say anything negative about him, but just what you think as Rangers at the minute.
I just think I think he's been out his depth with Scottish football. I think it's totally different to what he's seen down in England. And what he's obviously tried to do is bring his style of play up to Scotland, and he was convinced it was going to work, and he kept playing it that same way, game after game. It didn't work. And then eventually he's forced, when it's almost too late, well, it is too late now, to actually listen. And he changed it at the Old Firm, and we played better. We attacked better in the first half. That was the first time I've watched Rangers and thought, that looks like how Rangers normally play. And that looks like watching a Scottish football club. Because it's different up here. You don't have time on the ball. You have to attack. And that's what he did. And, we got, at the end of the day, we got a result, because a draw to Rangers is a result now. So it's better than losing to Celtic. They should have won it. But it's so frustrating when a manager can't adapt, when you can see something's not working. And obviously his ego is a bit out of control when he's got to. I understand when you want to do something your way, but sometimes you have to just accept it and go, this isn't working, let's change it. And he did do it, and it's good that he did it. And, he got a better result than everyone was expecting. It's just frustrating.
Scott, you can come in now on that one and your thoughts.
Listen, I say quite a lot about Russell Martin, and some of it's been quite bad at times, because I don't think he should be here. But That's just my opinion, but he's going to be here. So, like me, we're doing a pod that night. We just wanted to kind of talk more positive because all the negativity is it gets quite too much at times.
Yeah.
You get fed up talking about this and that. And I've said before, I don't really care, Baz and Robyn, who the manager is. I don't care who the players are. I just want to see Rangers winning. And we're not winning at the moment, so it annoys me. But if he can turn that around, fair play to him. But
Yeah.
on Sunday, I says to Gary, a boy I met at half time, I says, Gary for the podcast, you know who is, Baz, and
Yeah.
we said that he has adapted, but did they do it because he didn't want to lose, or did they do it because he knew he had to? So shows me he can adapt. He's not stubborn. Maybe he's come up here with an attitude as in, I want to do it this way, that way, and that way. And a lot of managers do. Doesn't matter who they manage. A lot of managers have got a plan they want to play, a system they want to play, a shape they want to play, and then they come up here and it maybe doesn't work, but they stick with it for a period.
Yeah.
But maybe he's thought, I need to tweak it. And maybe the Raskin thing helped, maybe the Igor Man thing helped, maybe the criticism helped. I don't really know. But he has tweaked it. So I think it shows you he can.
Yeah.
But you both know if he goes against Hearts next week and gets a draw, gets beat, it's the criticism back again tenfold. So he has to start winning games. It's because he's not winning. If he'd have beat Motherwell and Dundee and played poorly, it wouldn't have been as bad. It's because we're not getting points. European thing, you can look at that and say we got a doing, right? We did, but we got to where I think we're probably more suited to anyway. You take the Champions League, obviously, for the money, but I think I'm more suited to Europa League. But it's a league domestically we have to challenge. And I think 4 draws, it doesn't matter what Rangers manager is, it's not good enough. So he has to start winning games if we're playing well or if we're playing good. He has to start getting points on the board.
Yeah.
You'd probably need to win every game the rest of the season to get the fans on board. You know,
do you think that would help?
Well, if they won the league, it might help. The problem he has is, you're right, you're talking about the Hearts game coming up, you have Hibernian coming up. If he doesn't get results in them 2 games, I don't really see where he goes from there. Because if you look at the game, the Old Firm game, in my personal opinion, I actually thought they were very poor as well. It wasn't a great game.
No.
It didn't look like both teams actually really wanted to go and convict themselves to win the match.
No, you would have thought, actually, see if Brendan Rodgers had said to them before, look, we'll just take a draw, just sit back and relax your legs. You wouldn't be surprised if that's what he'd said, because it didn't look like they wanted to win. I've never seen Celtic play like that before. You're usually terrified when they come in because they're nippy and they're quick, but that wasn't happening at all. And I don't know whether it's just because they didn't need to, or I don't know. But yeah, they didn't have a great game. And if Rangers can't beat that Celtic side, then what can they beat? Jesus, it's like, what do we need to do to win?
That's a $64 million question, but I do think Celtic aren't as good as they were, and I think a lot of Celtic fans, that's why they're complaining as well, because they can see it themselves. They're not the team they were. I mean, used to play us and they were all over us in the first 10 and 15 minutes. They suffocated you and you couldn't they weren't like that.
It was horrible.
I thought on Sunday, the last half an hour, both teams were happy with a point. Both teams weren't bothered about. That's how it's shots and goal. We never got a shot and goal, but both teams were happy with a draw because it suited both managers. None of them lost.
No.
That way, and it was a really poor Old Firm game, and the fans thought that as well. There wasn't a lot of noise coming from the away end. The Union Bears were singing, but at times there was a few songs, but not as much as there was in previous seasons. Even when we were getting battered, there wasn't as much atmosphere. So I just think Sundays, both teams will probably look back in that and say we have to improve from there. Will they improve? They probably will to a point. Do we have to improve? 100%, because I think this is the players he's brought in. He's got a big change, and it does take time because the overhaul was so big. I didn't think there'd be as many in and out. I thought there would be less, but there's a lot. But this probably is the best time we've got this season. It's probably the best chance we've had in a long time to put a real challenge in. I'm not saying we're going to win it, but to put a real challenge in to win that league.
Yeah.
And the reality is, as much as it suited both managers not to lose the game, we're still 6 points behind.
Yeah.
So, well, especially after 4 games. I mean, that's it's absolutely crazy.
I know.
I find that mind-boggling. I really, really do. And if you look at that game, I really do believe if we had to unleash the midfield forward a wee bit better, we would have won that game
Oh,
quite
easily.
comfortably.
Easily. You didn't look scared of them at all. Usually you're looking at Celtic and you're, oh God, it's only a matter of time before they scored, or they always score in the last 5 minutes. You're sitting there watching them thinking they've not got a chance in this game. Even when the ball, you didn't feel nervous when the ball was going into their half at all. I've never watched Celtic and thought that. It's strange.
I'm the same. It was really it really did look like that they'd been told
to just
get
sit
the point.
back.
Yeah, just get the point and don't attack.
Don't worry about it. Even it felt like the fans knew that as well. It was as if they're just watching us thinking, this is boring. Let's just have a chilled game. I don't know. It was weird. But unless that's just how they're playing at the moment, because I know they're all raging about what's happening and they've not signed many new players and stuff. So maybe it is that just they're going through a bit of a spell as well that's not great.
They're not playing great, but they've still not conceded a goal, whereas
exactly, they're still winning games. So it's not anything like us, but it's
when I spoke with Celtic fans who have said they weren't happy because they've seen better Rangers sides, they think we're poor at this moment in time, and then Rangers fans are saying we should do better because that's one of the worst Celtic teams we've seen for a long time. So both fans are spot on. Both fans are thinking the same about their own clubs and other clubs as well.
Yeah.
Well, unless you follow Hearts, you wouldn't be saying that.
Hearts are doing okay, but I don't think they've got a longevity to last the full season. I don't think they've got enough. I don't think they've got the quality there, but I think they'll ban about. So Hibs will be the same, but they will drop points. But saying that, so will we.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I don't know about you guys and Robyn, but you've watched Scottish football for a long time. There's always somebody goes ahead. Like the last couple of years has been a one team league because nobody's really challenged them. But this season, if none of us pick up playing better, there could be a lot of teams taking points off each other, and you just don't know what way to go. But I still don't think the quality of Scottish football is as good as it has been. But that's just my opinion. I think it's not as good as I'm not saying the last few years, probably a while back, because we've not been great. But our team's just catching up with Rangers and Celtic. Do you know what I mean? You can look at it both ways. Our team's catching us up, or is a football not as good overall? So you can look at it both ways, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Time will tell during the season with that one, really, ultimately, of who's got the better squads and who can last to, over the long run. I just think currently the way we are at the minute, not being overly negative, I just don't. Unless these new players that have come in start to fire very quickly, some of the games coming up, we could maybe see ourselves a wee bit more further behind than what we already are if the games don't go our way.
Mm-hmm. Have we won yet?
That's an issue.
Ibrox?
No.
We beat Alloa.
We
beat Pilsen.
The atmosphere was good at that game.
The Alloa game, I was actually down in England that weekend, but we beat Alloa and obviously beat Pilsen.
Something, wasn't it?
Yeah, and obviously Panathinaikos as well. But if no one in the league, like you said, and the league's the most important thing to me at this point in time.
And the thing about the Alloa game is we didn't even close the game out properly. It was a wee bit hurry up the last 15 minutes.
And they still scored 2 goals. So I mean, it could have gone any way, really.
Yeah, so we haven't really seen a game yet where we've really dominated and we've really went and taken the game. Yeah. So that leads me on to the next thing with the transfers that's come in. And I want to talk more about the recent ones, as in the last couple of days, rather than the ones that have already come in, because we've talked about some of the ones that are already in. But the young fella from Everton, who looks like he's costing an initial 8 million, rising to possibly 10 million. That's a lot. We haven't spent that money in a very, very long time. And the Bears aren't really buying into this one at the minute because of his previous record of he hasn't scored a goal in 2 years. He's played very few minutes. Yeah, hasn't scored a goal in 2 years. And we're paying 8 million for him, possibly 10. So, Scott, have you had any? Have you looked into that yourself about this young fella? Is it Yusuf Chermati? Yusuf Chermati,
Yeah,
they call
yeah.
him, Portuguese boy.
I spoke to a few people down south that's know more about him than I do, and they said the boy has a talent. He's got tons of potential, so you're probably buying that. You could probably get money back on him if he does really well, because you obviously you have to start winning stuff as well. But if you win stuff and the boy scores goals, you could probably double the money we spent on him. I do agree with you, Baz. I think it's a big outlay for us because apart from Torandre Flo, I think he's the second highest. He was just above Kent, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But it's not the boys' fault he cost that. That's what the two clubs came to agreement. So it's not the boys' fault, and we have to get behind them and give them a chance, because he could come up here and prove us all wrong, because none of us have seen him. But surely it must be something about him. Being at Sporting Lisbon, going to Everton for 15, and obviously we're taking a chance with him. So all we can do is get behind the boy, and while I'm on, and I say, might prove a really good footballer, and he might do really well for us. We don't know. It's a bit like none of us knew what Igaman was, did we? I know he only cost 1.7 or something. So it's different. I think people are looking too much at the money value.
Mhm.
And that's not the kids' fault. That's just the boards and the teams that the two clubs agreed that. So it's nothing to do with that. It's just you just have to get behind the guy and think, let's do is get his, what was I going to say, get his foot running, and it's hit the floor running basically when he comes through the door. Well, he start, I don't know. I don't know if he'll play the two up top, but I think the signing is maybe for the long term as well, Baz, just because his age and his potential. Obviously, Thelwell knows him really well, signing him for Everton and signing him for us. So all we can do is just take him game by game and see how he goes. I don't think he deserves the criticism. I think the criticism might be more at the board for spending that money. But if you look at what we sold and what we brought in and what was paid out, there's not a big difference. We've not spent as much as you think because we recruit quite a lot. So if you look at it that way, it's probably not that bad a signing. But if you look at it for the money, it's taking a gamble on somebody. But that's what we do. I mean, you see, years ago, Baz, when you were younger, and Robyn will know this because she's a lot younger than me and you, but years ago, when we were a lot younger, we were buying players. Nobody looked at stats, how many goals they really scored. It was just a case of, we bought somebody for this amount of money, they must be good. Let's play them. Do you know that way?
Mhm.
But now everybody they look at every single thing about the player. And then they look at all these stats and analysis and think, no, he's not good enough. Wait till we see him with your own eyes, and we can maybe start to have a real clue what he's like. Maybe criticise him after half a dozen games, 10 games, but I wouldn't criticise the boy now.
No, and you know something, that's the way I'm looking at it too, Scott, because a price tag on a player's head is not down to the player, it's down to the club and what the other club's willing to spend. So in my opinion is that we do give the lad a chance, and let him integrate into the squad properly, and he gets his chances in the team accordingly. There's not too much pressure put on him. But what I would say is, with signing Bojan Miovski, I actually think that will take the pressure off him, because Bojan is the player that has scored goals in Scotland before. He's well known to that league. So he's the sort of player you're looking at the minute who you would probably have leading the line rather than the more expensive signing. And I think that makes sense at the minute, Scott. But it's like everything with Rangers, it just comes with pressure. It doesn't matter if Joe Rothwell cost £300,000. He gets more hammerings every week than anybody else.
I know.
So Rangers fans aren't. Yeah, like Robyn, Rangers fans aren't interested in, they want to see you playing on the pitch,
Yeah.
and they want to see you playing well, don't they?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be able to. I don't look at stats or anything like that. I'll go to the games, and if someone stands out, I'm always like, "What's that guy? What's his name, number, whatever?" And then my brother will tell me his name, and I'm like, "He looks good," or like, I don't know enough about it, but like the boy that came on for the Old Firm for his first game, what was his name? The guy that's been signed.
Is it the left back?
Yeah, the one that up front, the boy you were just talking about there.
Miovski. Bojan Miovski.
I think he'll be good. He looks quite fast and he seems to run about a lot. But again, is he going to score? And yeah, I think he will be good. He did look good, but it's all to do with how they got on playing with the other players in the team, isn't it? How they kind of link up with each other. So it might just take a couple of games until they kind of discover who they play well with and all that kind of thing. But you've just got to hope that all the money they've spent is going to be worth it. I think all we've got is hope. That's all that's left, isn't it?
The hope it kills you.
You'd take anything at the minute, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd take anything to get a result.
Yeah.
To get a win actually in the league. That would be a bigger
know,
thing,
my
wouldn't
God.
it? It's drive you nuts. And we got another saying in it, a left centre back who can also play left back, which is Derek Cornelius. He is a Canadian international and he's on loan from Marseille with an option to buy at the end of it. Looking at his stats, he looks pretty good, and that's a position we are crying out for at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Because that back is at the very back, the back line.
Yeah,
because that's been weak, very weak. So if you get someone in there that can take a bit of control, then for sure, stop letting the goals in. We definitely need to strengthen that side up for sure.
What do you think about that, Scott?
I've only really seen some of these games for Marseille, obviously on YouTube, and you link with somebody, you have a wee gander to see what they look like, don't you? And he looks decent. Baz, he's a big, tough boy, defender. He defends well, but it looks like he gets up well in the air, and that's what we have been lacking. And he's left-sided, which we've been lacking as well. So I think it's a very good signing for us if they can produce the goods, and I think he will, because we've not got a lot on that left side. We've got Mahoma, who's come in and done really well, but he's a young boy. You've got Enciala, who's that far out of the pitch, he's training with the youth team and stuff, and then you've got the young boy Fernandez is signed. He can play left side, but he was signed for $3.5 million, but he's a project by all accounts, so I don't think he's going to throw him in. So we needed somebody, probably needed another left back to be fair, but they brought him in, so hopefully he does well. He's happy to join us. He plays international football with Canada, so I'm not saying that makes him good, but you have to be decent to play international football, put it that way. And so I'm looking forward to see him come in the side, because I think John Suter struggles on the left side. I only moved him back the other game, but I think he struggles on the left side just because he prefers going on the right side. So I think having players at the back in a natural position or a natural side where they kick me in, I think that makes it more comfortable and more sensible instead of having guys out of position. I know Aaron's played at left back and he struggled badly, so play the guys in their strongest foot and their strongest side, and it may stop you from getting goals, because we have been conceding a hell of a lot.
And there's another one, Fernandez, who can play on the left centre back, who and what I'm saying, I think he'll probably be away by January, or probably I don't think he'll stay long, to be honest with you. I don't know who scouted this guy, but I just don't see him being a first teamer at Rangers and commanding a place at Ibrox. I'm hoping that $3.5 million was well over exaggerated, because he's not really looking like that type of player. And I know he's in through the door, but I don't know. Peterborough fans were getting in touch with us and saying, "Thank God you took him away." And, and that sort of rang bells for me before he kicked the ball. And it's not the fella's fault. He got a great move to Ibrox from Peterborough. I'm not dissing Peterborough, by the way, but Rangers are a far superior club in size and stature. And you can't blame the young fella. But for me, he just doesn't look like he's going to be the upgrade that we've been requiring.
No, and obviously they must have watched him or somebody seen him before. You don't just go and buy somebody for the sake of buying somebody. And obviously Thelwell or some scout or Purdy's knows him, but I know on these, and I do analysis and stuff, and his heading ability was really good and stuff like that, and offensive and defensive. So I think when they looked at that, they thought we need somebody strong in there. I seen him twice last season playing against Birmingham, because I was at both games, and they looked really good. I mean, he's up against Jay Stansfield at the time, and who cost Birmingham £10 million. So he's up against somebody of quality, and he performed really well, I have to say. But it still doesn't mean he's going to come to Rangers and do really well. But I think he's somebody who needs a chance as well. See a couple of games here and there, you're never going to judge him. It's like big Enciala. We don't know what he's like because we've not seen him enough. So we've seen bits and thought he was okay, but he's defensive. He let it down at times. So I think sometimes giving guys a chance. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know why we bought him. Obviously, like I said, Thelwell or Purdy or somebody's wanted to bring the kid in, but he is coming up for 24, or he is 24. So like somebody says in the chat, a project. But So you don't really hit your peak until you're maybe 27, 28, but you just never know. He could turn that around, but we've not seen enough of him to say he won't, but we've not seen enough of him to say he will either. So I think it's one of the ones he's going to be back up until he kind of proves it.
Years ago, you may have been a project player at 24, but these days you're not a project player at 24 anymore. You know what I mean? If you're a project player, you're talking 17, 18, really, aren't you? I think that's probably more the area, maybe 19.
Probably nowadays, Baz. I mean, years ago, Ian Wright signed very late for Crystal Palace, didn't he? When years ago, I think he was about 22 or 23 when he signed with Palace, and then got a move to Arsenal. But I think nowadays you're a lot younger. But then we signed Mikey Moore, who I think is a really good footballer, and he's got tons of potential. But he's one of these guys I thought we didn't really need because we've got our own Finlay Curtis. But that's just my opinion on the matter. I thought Finlay would have done the job he can do. And I think Finlay's a better goal scorer. I might not be a better player as in rated wise, but I think Finlay Curtis is probably our best natural finisher. But I say that's just my opinion. But it's just a big. We wanted a big squad of players, all different kind of thingies in it. We wanted big, tall centre backs, and he signed them. So it's up to the manager how he integrates them all together and gets them playing. Because at the end of the day, if he doesn't, he knows himself, he won't be here.
And you touched on something there, Scott, about young Finlay Curtis. And what strikes me is, and I want to bring you in this, Robyn, Finlay Curtis is our youth development player who we need to be bringing along and trying to integrate him into the first team, and especially being Scottish and his development happening through Ibrox. And yet we go to Spurs to help develop one of their players and bring him into the setup, and it's pushing Finlay Curtis out of the way. No. Surely that can't be that couldn't be good practice at Rangers.
No, I mean, Finlay Curtis is the one player that you look at and he makes a difference every time he comes onto the pitch, but he doesn't get a start half the time. You just think, what's a player got to do to start this team? I mean, he's been absolutely brilliant, and you can see the passion, you can see how much he wants it, and I think it's so important having players like that have come through the youth as well, and they're in the club, because at the end of the day, that's the kind of heart and soul of Rangers, and you need that in the club as well. So, I don't know why he doesn't get played more often, and I hope this doesn't make him get pushed out even more often. Sorry, here's the mad dog has appeared, which likes to make an appearance in the podcasts. No, I think he's going to be brilliant. I thought Connor Barron was fantastic as well in the Old Firm. And I think the boy Cameron as well. The three of them are going to be good as long as they get played.
And that's the key thing, isn't it? It's getting played.
Getting played.
And for me,
not being on the bench. What's the point in that?
And that's it. And we've seen lots of players in the previous of players like King, for example, who's been hanging around Rangers for years and years. And I don't think he's kicked the ball for anybody in the last couple of seasons. It's not good. A lot of the youth players that I see coming through, they don't get the game time at Ibrox to actually develop, and they just end up lingering in the reserves.
Yeah, it's not good. And you can see how good that boy is, and it's like you get excited when he comes on. But I think he should have been starting in the Old Firm as well. Or did he start the Old Firm? Was he on first? I can't remember. Curtis?
No.
Yeah, no, he didn't start, did he?
No. He played it safe. So
yeah.
I think he played it a bit safe up front. Well, he dropped Ant-Man as well. He didn't start, which was quite strange for me. And when he brought him on, he put him in left wing. I just found that absolutely mind-boggling. I couldn't understand that whatsoever. But that's another story. Is there anybody in the window that we have saying that you're excited about? Somebody that's come in and you've went, something? I really like a look at this guy.
For me, I was excited about the boy. Is it Asgard? His name with the dreadlocks. Yeah. I thought he looked. He looks fit. I don't mean that from a female perspective. He's got nice legs. Right, but when you see him in the midfield, you think he looks solid, he looks strong, he looks like he knows what he's doing. And I know he's had quite a few heavy touches. That's the only way I can describe it. Is it looks like he's going to do the right thing, and then it ends up he just touches it too heavy. I think he will be good, and I've got faith in him, but I know he's not shown us a very good game yet, but I do believe in him. I think he'll be really strong. I don't know what it is, there's just something about him. Yeah, that's who I'm hoping will end up coming through and kind of giving us some solid, not goals, but I think he'll end up kind of setting up a lot for the strikers. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, and if you, Scott, I was actually, when I watched the match, I thought Oscar wasn't really doing too much, but
No.
when you look back in the game, he actually done like a Barami role of curtailing McGregor.
Yeah,
and it doesn't go unnoticed, that type of work.
Yeah, I think he'll be good. He just needs a few more games, I think, and he seems to be getting a start in every game as well. So it looks like he's kind of set to start, but that could change as well, couldn't it? You just want to. I'm just going to let my dog out the door 2 seconds. Sorry.
I think Basby, the fellow Asgard.
Sorry.
I think he's a really good footballer. I've seen him quite a lot, and I like what I saw when he was at Wigan. They get moved to Luton, and he's done really well. I thought with Luton as well, and obviously we've seen the clause in his contract. We nipped in and got him for it was a really good price, because I think if that wasn't in there, they'd be wanting maybe double or maybe more than that. So, and I think he will improve. I think he will get better, and I think he will show us what he is made of. But I think sometimes we're too quick in judging somebody very, very quickly. We all do it. We all do it as fans.
Yeah.
Something that somebody Alan said in the chat, they have a bad first touch, and you think, my God, what have we signed here?
Keep them off.
I think we have to give the guys a bit more time because
to settle in.
Yeah, and I think you would Mark McGregor on Sunday, and I don't think you have to do it anymore. I think Cal McGregor's hit his peak and he's starting to come down, so I don't think he's as important a player as he was with Celtic, because I don't think Celtic get the same players around about him either. So I don't think you have to mark him anymore. But I think they'll welcome dude. Miovski kind of says everything. I think he scored goals with Aberdeen. If he can score goals with Aberdeen in this league, he can score goals with Rangers. It's very simple because the boy's a very good player. But I like the two wingers. I like Gassama and I like Ant-Man, because been crying out for wingers for the last few seasons, and we signed two, and they've shown small glimpses of what they can do. Yeah, they have to be more consistent, but Martin has to find a formation that works for the two, because I think when they put defenders in the back foot, we're at our strongest. But when they're playing with our backs to goal, they struggle, like most players do. So I think we've got a good front line. We've got players there who can make an impact. We've got players there who can create chances and score. But it's just getting the formation right for them to go to teams, because teams do it with us. But you look at these guys on paper and everything else, they've all got talent. I mean, Gassama's shown it. Ant-Man's shown a glimpse. Miovski scored goals. I mean, Asgard plays international football for Norway. He's played in the English Premiership. So he's a decent player. Even Rothwell, I mean, you've watched a lot of Rothwell at Leeds. I watched him at Leeds and Blackburn. And there's talent in there, but sometimes coming up to Scotland, players do take time, especially for the leagues, because somebody mentioned in the chat about Mark Hateley. Hateley took a season or more to settle in, and once he did, he was phenomenal. And listen, some players, every gambling yourself, we've signed a lot of players, not everyone's going to be a hit. That's just the way football works. Some will struggle, some won't fit in, and some will maybe go somewhere else. But until they get the chance to prove it and they get a manager, it gets no point in signing players and on a basis of saying, right, they've done this for that club, and you're bringing them into Rangers and saying, right, but I want you to do this now, because they'll be like that. Well, my strengths are here, but you want me to play here. So I think it's just kind of knitting everything together, and it does take time, but you don't get time at Rangers. Doesn't matter who you are, because we've drawn 4 league games, and one more draw or loss, like I said earlier, the pressure's back on.
And I would say, you know, I've watched Rangers for a long time, and it feels like there's more pressure right at this moment in time that I've ever seen at Ibrox. And that must be very, very hard for new players coming in. Some are writing you up before you even kick a ball. So, you know, and that must be difficult for players to, you know, to get their mojo going. And, you know, if there's fans against you before you come on the pitch, how do you win them over? How do you know, it's a very, very demanding crowd. Ibrox can be one of the noisiest stadiums in the world, and it can be one of the quietest times as well, if things aren't going your way.
Exactly.
There's not
Yeah,
really any hiding place, is there, at Ibrox? I mean, you seen it when Cherney first came in. He get tons of abuse. I think it was the first European game. Was it Kiev or maybe somebody else we played? And you get a bit of abuse. It was at Hampden, I think it was. You get a bit of abuse. But then after time, he started playing really well. And everybody's saying, this boy's a good player. I know he was on loan, but Dessers has got hundreds of abuse. I don't know if it's the social media as well, I expect, or just the frustration of not winning anything for years and really want to win stuff. I don't know what. I think it's just a combination of everything. Do you know that? But you want to give them time, but like I says, you don't get time because the league we play in and the pressure it is we playing with Rangers. Because if we were playing with Southampton, Luton, Wigan, wherever, if they get a draw away from home, that's classed as a good result. If they get a draw at home, they'll say, right, we've drew, it's not great, but we'll move on to next week. At Rangers, Walter Smith always says you're only 2 defeats away from a catastrophe, didn't he? So that's the pressure of playing at Rangers, and it doesn't matter the player and manager. There's so much pressure, and some people take it in their stride, but some people might hide. Like I think Aaron's has been hiding because I think he feels that pressure and he doesn't want to make a mistake, but he does. But it's just because there's so much intense pressure on him, he gets scared of making mistakes, and that's when you make them.
And let's not forget, when we won the 55 title, James Tavernier actually said they were better that season because of no pressure from the fans. you know, and that's coming from your captain of the last. He's coming up to his 10th year, and he's been captain for was it 6-7 years now? He's captain or whatever it is. So it even shows you, even your captain who has been there for a long time, he has experienced the highs and lows of the pressure at Rangers. I know James gets a lot of abuse from certain quarters. He gets a lot of support from others, but it can affect anybody at Rangers. It doesn't matter who you are.
I just think there's still the amount of money these boys are getting paid as well. And then all we ever seem to try and do now is tell them how proud they should be to be playing for Rangers, which is true. I just don't. It's as if the concept of that club has been lost sometimes, and you think, why are we having to, when you hear Russell Martin's interviews, why is he having to say, we're wanting to do this for the fans, we're wanting to win these games you should be wanting to win it yourselves. Why any player that comes on and gets to play at that level should want to win every single game and should be determined to win. We shouldn't have to tell them, you should want to win this game. It should be in your DNA as a footballer to win. But I just find it strange that you wouldn't want to win. I'm sure they do, right? And they're obviously feeling the pressure, but the pressure I don't feel pressure when I step on stage. Like you've got to have nerves to perform. That nerves come from everywhere, but you can't just shy away because you feel nervous. Like just don't. I know the social media thing's very hard, but as a footballer getting paid that amount of money, you need to get on there and show what you're made of. I think it's just all become a bit pathetic, to be honest.
Yeah. It's very, very, very difficult. But Ibrox, it doesn't matter who you are. We've seen players like Aaron Ramsey come up. We've seen players like Joey Barton come up. And these are players with pedigree before they came, and they didn't make it at Rangers. And I don't think it's just a question of the quality. I think it's a question of the mentality of what it takes to play for Rangers. It's a unique club. And like Ramsey was coming from Juventus, who are a huge club in Europe, but he had never experienced anything like when he went to Ibrox. So it can affect anyone.
It must be hard when you're getting shouted at, because it is awful, the things that people are shouting at you. But there must be people in Rangers that help people deal with that as well. Like just block out the noise, and you can't block out the noise, can you? It's more about the way you watch them play. It sometimes just doesn't look like they're wanting to win. But we've just got to believe it will come with this team now that we've got all the signings have been made. I think it's there for them. I still think they could win it. I know that sounds a bit optimistic, but I do, only because I've just seen how Celtic are playing. And if they carry on playing like that, then we do have a chance.
The big question is, can the current coach lead that charge? That's my biggest question. Yeah. And at the minute, I am very skeptical. I'm hopeful. At the the ownership is at the moment they've given, I don't know whether it's a vote of confidence, the dread of vote of confidence, or he's got more confidence of staying there than anybody else I've ever seen. but he certainly needs to be winning very, very soon. And he's been
Oh,
given
yeah.
the tools here.
There's no more
You know,
excuses now. Like, we've had every excuse under the sun. You know, they were settling in period, all that. There isn't anymore. If we don't win this game against Hearts, it's over.
I would say so. I would say so. I would say the Hearts and the Hibs games will be huge.
Huge.
I think too. And you've got a Hearts team who's full of confidence. They're going into the international break. They're sitting up with Lemons up at the top of the league, and they're going to come to Ibrox and they're going to have a good go at us, I would say.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough.
They need to play like they did in the first half of the Old Firm. Like, it's different. It was a different style of play that Russell Martin's been playing as normal, but they need to do that with every game now, because these clubs are just going to come in and rip the piss out of us.
There's one there.
I think Martin. Sorry, Baz. I think Martin.
No, go ahead.
I think Martin will get time for the board because he's their man. He spent all this money.
Yeah.
Even if it is a bad result against Hearts, I don't think they'll pull the plug.
Really?
I think the earliest it would probably be nearly Christmas if it's going really, really bad. Because I just feel, for having invested all this money, that's a hell of a lot of money on players. It's going to be, they're thinking, suited for Martin. If they bag Martin, remember he signed a 4-year deal, wasn't it? So that's a lot of money as well. But they bring somebody else in. Come next transfer window, the new manager might be saying, I don't want him, but I want these other ones. So I think they'll look at it like that, and rather than that. And even though I don't think it's a short-term thing for these guys, listen, I'm not sitting here defending them. I'm just thinking what the owners are thinking. I don't think it's short-term for these owners. I think they're looking more medium long.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're coming and see we have to win this season. I think they're saying if they come in and get the blocks again, and the pieces of this jigsaw, whatever together, then next season may go even better. I think that's where they're looking for it.
Mm. You could be right, which is really worrying.
That's what worries me a lot. I have to be honest with you. I don't know. I just can't shake this feeling that we've made one of the worst decisions in our history. I just can't shake it. I don't know what it is, and I'm not feeding off the other fans. I'm not feeding.
No,
he feels like a Kieran Dowell to me. I get that sort of vibe off him. You know, I don't know. I just can't. I can't buy into the project at the minute. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. But at the minute, I don't know. It's difficult. I don't know.
I think we all do hope we're wrong. And I think the problem he has is, I think he's arrogant, but I don't know him personally, so that might just be his persona in general. That's maybe how he's like outside as well. I don't think maybe that's him, and I don't think he's as arrogant as I think he is. And listen, all managers and players have to be a certain arrogance about them. They have to, because if they don't, they're not going to get anywhere. I mean, Robyn probably knows that as a singer and stuff. You have to have a bit of arrogance about yourself, thinking, right, when I step on the stage, I'm the best singer in here. When they step on the football park, they should think I'm the best footballer here and I'm the best manager here. So that's the way they have to think. But I just feel, I don't know, I just feel he might do it differently because he knows he might be in last chance saloon with the fans. I don't think he thought the pressure was going to be as bad as it has been. I think he thought it'll be a wee bit, because I know a lot of people didn't want me in the first place, and they mentioned I've not got a fancy name, I've got floppy hair, nonsense like that, right? But I think he thinks, right, this is getting worse because he's talking about speaking to his mum and stuff like that. And listen, some of the abuse he gets quite personal, and I don't agree with that.
No
matter how bad he's doing, he shouldn't abuse somebody personally. You can say his job or sack him, but don't start shouting personal insults, because it's not really nice. And I wouldn't like it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Nobody I knew.
Exactly.
So, but I feel the board. They said they spent a long process. I don't know if that's true, because by all accounts they only had 3 candidates, and if it was that long, there'd have been more. But I just feel they're behind them at this moment in time, and I don't feel them pulling the plug unless it goes really pear-shaped very, very quickly. And I know you might think it's pear-shaped just now if you don't win a game in the league, but maybe losing 4 or 5 of their next games. I don't know. I just feel they're going to just say, we'll get it right, but if it's next season, we'll be happy with that.
Let me. We know we're coming up to the hour mark here, but I just want to. We couldn't do this show without mentioning Niko Raskin, and you know what's going on with Niko Raskin. I was personally glad to see Niko staying, I'm hoping that him and Russell can iron out their differences, and and we can get him integrated back into the side after he's been obviously clearly dropped for the Celtic game. I mean, that's pretty evident. We know that he's away to the Belgium national team, probably to play alongside Kevin De Bruyne, and we've got him nowhere near our squad trying to play Celtic. So I'm hoping with Niko coming, Niko's wants to stay. He wants to be at Rangers. That's very evident. He refused basically to go anywhere. He just wanted to be here. And I'm assuming, I would say with good confidence, that I'm sure both of you are happy with that.
Oh, God. That's the only thing I've been happy about in the last, 3 months. The fact that he's staying, he is, that's probably the only hope we've got. But if he gets played, I mean, he might still be here, but is he going to be on the bench or is he going to be on the pitch? That's the question.
I think, Baz, listen, I think Raskin's our best player. I've done it, said last season, I still say the same just now. But I think both of them have to part their egos and push that aside. Listen, you don't always like everybody you work with. You don't always like the manager you've got in your work. But I think if your manager's telling you to do something, even if you don't like him, even if you don't want to do it, I think you have to do it.
Mm.
And then if it doesn't work, then you can turn and say, right, this isn't working, can we go this plan? But I think they both have to part their egos. Niko has to go in the park and prove he's good enough to be there, but also do what he's told as well. And then if it doesn't work out, like I said, complain. Don't just go in and say this isn't working, blah, blah, blah. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who it is, it's for the good of the football club. It's not for the good of Niko Raskin. It's not for the good of Russell Martin. It's for the good of Rangers Football Club. So both of them have to work together. There's football clubs up and down the land. There's probably a Rangers dressing room in the past. Not everybody likes each other, but they made it work. So they two have to make it work. Or one of them will be going, or two of them will be going.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the main thing is no one player is bigger than Rangers Football Club. And you're right, he does need to knuckle down now when he comes back in the international break to sort their differences out. If Russell wants them to play a certain way, he either has to play it or he'll not be in the team. And that's just the reality for Niko. Regardless of whether he's playing with Kevin De Bruyne one week or not, that doesn't really matter. At Rangers Football Club, Russell Martin's not worried about what Belgium are doing. He's obviously worried about what his own team's doing. And Niko needs to fit into that. One of the reasons why I was glad he stayed was I didn't want us trying to rush him out the door in a cut price deal. I didn't want us to lose that valuation of what he holds as well as financially, because we could have done something very easy there in the last few hours of the window and shipped him out for like 8 million or something, maybe with a sell-on clause. And that wouldn't have been good business for us at this moment in time with a player like that and the pedigree he has. But you are totally right, Scott. He needs to knuckle down when he comes back and he needs to force his way back into the side. And that can be a positive for Rangers, a player who's hungry to gain his place back in the squad.
Mm-hmm. He could potentially be the captain, couldn't he, really? And the thing about Tav is he is so professional, and he's got so much experience. I've always loved Tav. I know a lot of people have what they want to say about him, but I just think he's been a brilliant captain as well, and I think if he can pass that down to Niko Raskin as well, but he will need to, like you say, get on board with the manager if the manager's staying, or that relationship will never work.
And Robyn, we've just literally found out that James Tavernier can throw a long ball.
You see that one that went right into the box?
Oh,
literally his feet. I couldn't believe that didn't go in.
I didn't know the guy had it in him. There's 10 years of football watching him, and I didn't know he could throw a ball into the box. I'm not a huge James Tavernier fan, I have to say. I think the last couple of years he is regressing he doesn't have the same legs and all, but I have to give James Tavernier massive credit this season and the way he's been dropped and the way he's come back into the fold and the way he's still supporting the players. That's an absolute, he's got my respect for that. I have to say he has done well there.
Yeah, I think you need someone like that in the team. There's just so much change, isn't there? You've really only got like your Tav, Suter and Raskin, and really that are your solid Rangers players that have been there for quite a while, but the rest it's a new team, so they need some kind of structure from the past. And he does know, he does know about the club, and he's been there a long time, so And he's probably a good one to talk to with the new players that have come in. Like, they can go and speak to him and stuff like that as well. You've got to have that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I know we're kicking on a wee bit here, and I'm sure you two are ready to run away from me. So, just quickly, Robyn, is there anything upcoming that you want to tell the listeners, that anything very close that you've upcoming that you want to post on here?
I mean, my next gig is going to be in the Glasgow Pavilion Theatre in October. That's the Billy and Tim show. It's not a Rangers gig, but that's the next time I'm performing on a big stage. I just had a fantastic gig there with the Union Bears and Copeland Collective in Edmiston House. That was amazing. So I'd love to do that again, actually, with them. But I've just decided I'm going to be recording a new album. I mean, it takes a long time to do it, but I've had so many people asking if I can put all these songs into like a fuller album, because I've only ever released the EP, which is Rangers on My Mind. That's got 5 tracks. So I'm now going to start recording my full Rangers album, which I think will have 10 or 11 tracks on there. And I'm just going to put on the ones that everyone's been asking for, like Have You Seen the Glasgow Rangers, Absent Friends, all these ones, kind of more unusual Rangers ones. I'm going to get them all on there, and I'll maybe put it to my followers vote and just say, right, which songs do you want to see on the album, and let them decide the set list. So that's what I'll be working on. Hopefully get that out for Christmas, and then do some shows as well for the album launch. That's the plan.
Absolutely. And just let us know, Robyn, when you're doing it, and we'll certainly promote it for you as well. I'm sure Scott will do the same.
Brilliant. Thank you.
It's been absolutely great to have you on. Scott, not another Rangers podcast. When are you guys back on, mate?
We're back on Monday. We're giving Friday a miss because we don't want to go over old stuff, which we've all spoke about and we spoke about tonight, because I think you can only talk about something so much before people start saying, not that again. Do you know what I mean? So we're giving Friday a miss. We're back in Monday to go over the players that's come in and just look forward to the games coming up.
Super. I just want a big shout out. Northern Ireland's playing tomorrow night away to Switzerland. So follow the boys from Northern Ireland tomorrow night if he's gone, and
definitely
cheer the boys in green on.
Definitely, they're my biggest fans now. I'm Northern Ireland all the way.
I know we're very unique. We're unique.
Oh, you are. I've met a few. You know, you're certainly unique.
and you know, for a small country, there's so many different accents, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't be able to
tell the difference of the accents, but I certainly know a Northern Irish accent now when I hear one. A brilliant bunch of people, anyway.
Thank you very much. Here, great to have you both on. Absolutely fantastic. That went really well tonight. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you again.
Thank you for having me on. Thanks.
Thanks. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.